10 interesting facts about ancient Egypt. 10. Ancient Egyptian men and women wore makeup. While makeup today is mostly associated with women, it wasn't like that in ancient Egypt. Here, both men and women used makeup on a regular basis. 9. Beer was consumed regularly. They even have a goddess of beer, known as Genet. Beer was an important part of the society in ancient Egypt, and it was drunk both by adults and children. Wages were even offered in beer in some cases, and workers received a ration of beer on a daily basis. However, it was not as intoxicating as modern beer, but instead, it was more nutritious, thick and sweet. However, there is also evidence that ancient Egyptian beer could be intoxicating as well. 8. Most pyramid builders weren't slaves. Contrary to popular belief, the pyramids were built by hired workers who received payment in various forms. It was believed an honor to build the pyramids for the pharaohs, and they worked in shifts for a few months before a new set of workers came. But of course, building pyramids weren't an easy task, and the builders that excavators have found all showed signs of having lived a rather hard-working life. 7. Tutankhamun was the youngest pharaoh to rule in ancient Egypt. Tutankhamun was far from the most famous or successful pharaohs of the ancient Egyptian civilization. He was only a boy when he became a pharaoh, yet he has become famous all over the world and an Egyptian icon. The reason for this is because his grave was found intact, and many other notable pharaohs. 6. The world's oldest dress was used in ancient Egypt. The oldest dress ever found dates back to more than 5,000 years ago. It is known as the Tarhan dress and was made of linen. 5. Only the most important texts were written in hieroglyphs. Writing hieroglyphs were likely to be time-consuming and thus reserved for more important texts and spells. Most hieroglyphs are found within pyramids, temples or other important buildings. 4. Not everyone was mummified. Most regular people weren't mummified since the mummification process was long and performed by embalmers, which were often also priests. But there are some exceptions when servants were buried next to the pharaohs. However, unless you were a royal or some other high-ranking person, it is likely that you would have been just buried in a shallow grave in the desert together with your belongings. 3. The afterlife was very important. It was believed that the soul traveled on to the afterlife. Ancient Egyptians believed in the underworld as well as eternal life and rebirth of the soul. Many rituals had to be made in order for the person to get a successful afterlife, and that's why they buried important things as well as servants with the pharaohs. Mummification was performed because they thought that the body needed to be preserved to let the dead become reborn in the afterlife. 2. Marrying relatives was quite uncommon. This wasn't unique to the ancient Egyptians. In fact, many civilizations have had traditions of marrying relatives in order to keep the bloodline intact. It was believed that the pharaohs were mediators between the gods and the regular world. Egyptians also believed that the god Osiris married his sister Isis to keep their bloodline pure. 1. They believed in many gods. In fact, more than 1,000 gods and goddesses were worshipped by the ancient Egyptians. Ra, Osiris, Isis, Set, Horus, and Anubis are some of the most famous Egyptian gods. Thanks for watching. Subscribe us for more amazing videos.